Get bit kids and Vuximo and video. I assume that's the recording. William, good to see you all, guys. All right. I think maybe we should actually just get started now that we are 10, 15 people. All right. Okay. So welcome to all of you. Thank you for attending this town hall session. The number 11 it is. Good to have you all here. For today's town hall, and as always, we will be covering multiple topics. So just to give you an overview of what we'll be covering today, I've created a small agenda, which I'll share with you in a second. But before doing so, I just want to encourage you to ask questions if there's anything that's unclear, or just in general, if you have any questions, and or comment if there's anything you disagree with or anything like that. And you can do so using either the chat, or you are more than welcome to actually join us up here on stage. That would be great. Okay. So with that being said, I'll just start by sharing my screen with you. Let's see here. It's actually not. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. I don't know. Now, okay, there we go. Okay, so now you see my screen, right?
No, it's loading. Now I see it at least.
Okay. So if you're seeing it, then I assume all of you are seeing it. Okay, so for today's agenda, we will start out by answering some of the questions that were posed in the Discord channel. Very good questions, and we're very happy to see you guys engaging with us and wanting to know more. So I took the liberty of summarizing them into three main points, three main questions. The first one being, what kind of application should we expect to see on the Tagion network moving forward? Second, what kind of utility does the network bring, or what kind of benefit does the network, the Tagion network, bring to the customers, the clients, the ones building upon the network? And then finally, what kind of plans do we have for growing the community? So those were the questions posed by Masful and Raven Sue. I hope that I pronounced that correctly. So we'll be covering those first and foremost. Then we'll move on to doing some demos. We will be showcasing our Explorer, Tagion Explorer, and then we'll be showing the SDKs. Before then, at the end, covering the updated roadmap. So that's today's agenda. I think before we start, maybe we should just briefly use 10, 20 seconds for each of us to introduce who we are. I'll just start. My name is Jonas Lodell, Jonas Lott. That's and I'm sort of today's host, so to speak. I'm both here as a community member of Tagion and also as an employee of the card. So that's me. Maybe Christian, you could just briefly touch upon who you are.
Yes, very briefly. I am Christian Vestergaard. I'm one of the co-founders of Tagion. I also work full-time with the card and as a community member on Tagion, and spending every day, every night, almost thinking and breathing what we're doing here. And over to you, Leander. Carsten, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm a developer on the Tagion core and also doing some of the other stuff. Yeah, so yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Carsten. Maxim, if you're there.
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon. My name is Max. I'm a mobile engineer at Descartes, responsible for the wallet and respective SDKs.
Thank you, Maxim. And then over to you, Leander, and then you can also go on with your answering the questions.
All right, Leander Bindewald. I'm Jonas's colleague at Descartes, and you all fellow community members. And I'm sitting normally in southern Germany, but today I'm at an airport, and I'm really sorry if that creates network issues or audio issues. Video looks okay, but unfortunately my system just crashed when you shared your screen. I don't know what you showed that my Discord application didn't like it. But could you just repeat the questions again, just to remind me what I'm going to introduce
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
the audience?
So the questions were the first one was in relation to what kind of application we should expect to see on the Tagion network moving forward. Then for the second question was what kind of utility or benefit does the network bring to the entities or people building upon the network? And then finally, what should we expect in terms of community growth, or rather, what are the plans for growing the community moving forward?
All right, thank you. And I'll give a bit of a bigger picture here, just to be sure that everybody sees the landscape before we dive into details. Also, I've seen some people saying next time not so much technical explanations, but rather the user-friendly story. So you might have realized that we also republished our websites. Both the Tagion.org website had a facelift, and Descartes.io looks completely different now. So if you're missing anything from the story I'm telling you now, or you want to read up on it, you can always go there and look it up. The Tagion.org, you will realize, is not completely different. We just took out a few elements, rephrased some of the wording, also with the feedback we had, just to align the story that we're telling and basically answering the questions that were put to us here just now. So I'll try the screen share. Tell me if it crashes your system as well. That coming up? Ooh, no, that's messy.
No,
I don't know what. It's probably the network here.
Well, you decided to sign up, Leander. You disappeared. Jonas, you look frozen too. Okay, that's what is happening when you run something live, and yeah, that's technology in a nutshell. I'm sure we will have both Leander and Jonas back within too long. And let's see, we have Leander here now. Let's see if he can take over. And if Leander drops out again, then maybe we'll go on to some of the demos. But Leander, please feel free to go ahead. We also lost Jonas. And you're muted, so we cannot hear you on the headset somehow. No, we don't hear you. Could you try to just take the pin up and down, or turn off and turn on the headset again? No. So everything broke at once. Okay. Then while Lena gets a chance to reconnect, I think we'll jump into one of the demos. We'll come back to the questions later in the call. Max, are you up for doing a quick introduction to the new SDK and demo this? Or should we go into the Explorer?
Yes, while we wait for Jonas, I can
Yeah.
demonstrate what we have developed in recent weeks. Before I jump into showing my code editor and a little demo app that shows that the SDK works, I'll make a couple steps back to explain what is the need of this SDK. The current wallet that can be found on App Store or Google Play was implemented using binaries that have a mixed logic of both working with basic structures of Tagion and wallet logic. While working with our partners Aeon Connect, we realized that we need more flexibility, especially not only for us, but especially for those who want to build something on top of Tagion in the future. So we decided to strip this logic apart in two distinct pieces. The first would be Tagion Dart API, a set of basic functions packaged in a binary and wrapped with Dart language to be used for Flutter projects who want to build with Flutter on top of Tagion. And next will be Tagion Wallet Core. Now we are ready with the first part, Tagion Dart API, and it is now.
Sorry, back in 1 second. May I just remind people that to enlarge the screen that Max is sharing, then just click on it. You'll see it in large size. And click twice to see it in full size, as large as it can get.
Okay, does it work for you? Do you see it?
All good, all good.
But you're seeing the wrong screen. Let me just show you everything from my laptop.
Yeah. Project now
This
in
is the GitLab page of our Tagion Dart API project SDK. Everyone can access it. Everyone can take a look how we have implemented it, and what's most important, everyone can from now on depend on it. How would developer who is curious enough to try something out would develop using our project, our SDK? If anybody in the audience is familiar with Flutter development, this is pubspec YAML file where we plug in every dependencies that we want to use in the project. How to use it? You indicate name. Currently, as a source, you indicate Git, then URL, and you depend on the latest commit that you want to depend on. I took the latest main commit, as this is the latest state of our SDK. And then you just launch your project. You can use basic classes from this SDK. One of the most important is crypto class, which is responsible for generation of key pair. Further, you will be using other classes that are responsible, for instance, for decrypting your PIN. When you log in and log out, you have to decrypt your PIN. Or for instance, to sign a transaction, you'll be using the same crypto module, but another method to sign. And to show you that this works, I have created a very simple app. This here is a binary representation of device PIN. It is encrypted and I'm just showing that it has been generated. And here is just random data you can see from 0 to 31. It can be any message. In case of Tagion network, it will be a HIBAN contract containing your amount of Tagions and address to who you want to send your funds by clicking sign data. I can see that I have to probably decrypt my PIN first. Yay. After I have decrypted it, I've signed the data, and this is the signature. Very simple. For the beginning, this is our start. We will be building on top of it. We will provide this SDK to our partners. Some of them may use it as inspiration to implement it with other languages, for instance, Swift or C++, whatever suits their needs. To explain what's going on here, we have, of course, provided a README file which describes basic modules and, most importantly, what to do in order to obtain binaries, because we care about security, and secure operations that handle creation of key parent data signing are conducted by a binary on a low level, so that no one can interfere with operative memory of an app on Dart. This is more secure to use precompiled binaries. Example to explain better how to use it. And our next step is to align with the guidelines and conventions of Flutter and Dart packages and publish it on the official website and repository where the whole world keeps their Flutter and Dart repositories, so that it's even more easy to use and to connect without even indicating your Git hash. It will be just Tagion Dart API, version number, and that's it. It will be like this Cupertino icons and the version number, but it will be Tagion Dart API and version number. This is it from my side, and I am ready to answer questions if there are any.
And if I may just briefly, it was very nice. When we lost you, Leander, the last thing you said was that this is going to be less technical, and then we start with quite a technical demo. But it was a good demo. Thank you for that, Max. Are there any questions in the chat from, I think at least some people writing here, let's see. And yeah, Jonas got DDoS. Okay. All right, there's at least there's a clap in your direction, and I know it's you and Anton that's been working hard on this over with Carsten. I think, are you back, Jonas? For good?
Just the voice. It's I don't know. My Discord is all bugged. Okay, but I think I'm back now.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I have no idea where we're at.
Max did the demo, and Leander's ready now to continue answering the questions, I think. So let's try that.
Cool. Okay, cool.
But we don't hear you, Linda.
Yeah.
We heard you.
I thought it was only me.
Okay, but okay, then we'll just do it in the opposite order, because and I'll promise I'll try to be not so technical. It is a technical demo, but it is about the Tagion Explorer. Before we start diving in to see what is the Tagion Explorer, it's quite important that we have something to look at, that we can work together on here. So I'm going to work with Carsten on this one, and I have my trusty iPhone. There's not so much battery, but it will be working fine. I have my Just Pay application here with me. And Carsten, would you be kind enough to share your receiver address so I can send you some tokens on our dear production network? And
Yes.
you're muted. Yeah,
Yeah. So I will. Where do I actually write this?
Could you paste it in the chat in the upper right corner?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I will do. So
Then you get this long address. That's how we wrap an invoice in the system at the moment. That will be more user friendly in the future, but this is how we do it right now. And the important
very
thing,
user friendly. It's just text. So
yes, it will be. Let me just see. I need to copy it in here. Thank you. And let me get back into. So I will try to let you follow along here on the screen. So back into my Just Pay application. I need to smile to it. I'm going to send. I paste Carsten's address, and I'm going to send him. Let's say, what time is it? 2023. So he will get 223 tokens, and I'm sending that now, and it has been accepted. And just see, done. Then it'll go from my phone, of course, into the Tagion system as we have demoed before, and then within the next 20 seconds or so, Carsten should be able to update. You should be able to update your end, and that. Then we just wait.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, that's it. So 200, 223. Yeah.
Yeah. Just hold it up again, please.
Yeah. So yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Okay. And I'm going to share my screen because what we want to do now is we want to find that transaction in the database in the Explorer. So bear with me for a second. Here we go. I have it here. Go live. And remember to click on my screen when I'm sharing, because in that way you'll be able to follow along. So first off, this is it's a tool for developers, so it's not ready yet for prime time, you can say. In the prime time edition, you'll be able to look every transaction up directly from your phone. It'll jump into the Explorer and you can read everything. This is right now, this is more of a developer tool, but I've derived Carsten's address out of the long string that you can see that he pasted at 822 in the chat. And I'm going to key it in here. I can search for a Dart index, a public key, an epoch number, or a string in here. And I'm going to just look for the address, search, and I have 2 @signs. And this tells me about Dart indexes, where they are stored, these different things. And then, because it is a developer edition, I need to find the right index in the database and look that up. And this was one we tried earlier. There's 509. So I need to try another one. Just bear with me. And then I try this one. Guys, I just need to know, is there a delay in updating the database from the mainnet? 691. You're muted. Or are you thinking? Carsten?
No, I'm not. No, it's fine. I'm just saying that the hash keys are ordered in lexical order, not in date. So that's why.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I don't actually know which one is the.
No, it's not. It's ordered by lexical order.
Okay. So, and there's some help in here, but again, this is for developers. And right now, what we're doing is we're working with the pub key here. But what you can see, what you'll be able to use the Explorer for as a developer is to go in and see and find the transaction in the Dart index. We'll go back in a minute just to see if to show the one that we had before. There's a
Christian, you can
monitor.
try. Yeah, they will just continue. Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
You can also try to just write the Tagion on there, just to see, because the Tagion is the name record for. It's a reserved name for when the network runs. So you can take this epoch number,
Hey, actually have
then
the
paste it into the search also, and then you can actually see then try again. Then you can actually see when the epoch is approved. Try search again.
for Tagion or for this one.
Yeah. And then press again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can see then it's approved. All the signatures are signed.
The signatures from the 5 nodes that are running.
Yeah, exactly. That's so they have approved it now. So this epoch has been approved by the network.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, that's just, and this is the bullseye is the signature of the database. So that's what they do. They approve every node, approve this signature. This bullseye. This is the Merkle root of the database. Yeah.
Good. So we didn't avoid becoming a little bit technical here.
No, sorry.
On the monitor here, this again. This is for our dear developers around the world. It's possible to subscribe to the recorder and also to the transaction reverse table that we have set up, and this gives the output live from the system as things are happening. So this can help when debugging. And a little bit later, I'm going to share a screen dump where I will show you the 223 that I sent to to Carsten. But that's so you know, now we have a strong tool for developers to get going, and there will be something user-friendly that is more user-friendly in the future for end users. So that concludes, and then I really hope we have Leander now. So I'm going to stop the screen sharing and hand over to you, Leander. Leander, could you try to maybe stop your video? We'll see if we can hear you, because you have everything seems to be in slow motion.
We can try with sign language also.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you tried from your phone, Leander. Okay. Jonas, will you want to take over here?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
All right. Okay. So let's see here. Okay, I'll just share my screen and then see if I can do as good a presentation as Lander would have done on this. Let's see here. Okay, so let's try to answer the questions which were raised in the Discord channel by both Mesfool and by Draven Sue. So starting with what kind of applications we expect to be built on the network moving forward. Right from the beginning, sort of the main intention has been to create alternative monetary and financial systems. So the network was built with that in mind. And by updating the Tagion webpage, which is an ongoing thing, we have tried to sort of capturing this intention. So right now it says here that's sort of the main tagline, cooperative financial infrastructure. So essentially what we're building here is a network upon which all sorts of different financial applications and monetary applications will be built. So that's sort of the main idea. Probably in a moment we'll get a bit more into what exactly that entails. But overall, the idea is to have this infrastructure to run especially alternative forms of financial and monetary applications and systems. A very important thing, which I want to emphasize, is the fact that we expect to create a lot of what we call federated subsystems. Essentially, for example, companies who want to launch their own financial application. Let's assume they want to have sort of an application to settle transactions between companies or something like that. Their network of companies, they want to settle transactions, they can do that on the Tagion network. What they probably would do is to launch their own federated subsystem, where they then can create their own governance rules, but still benefit from the security which is created on the Tagion mainnet. Yeah, so that's sort of the architectural the architecture of the applications, where we expect to see where companies or communities or whatever it is, they create their own federated subsystem for financial applications, complementary currencies, anything like that, where they then set up their own governance structure and they get to benefit from the security of the mainnet. Yeah, and also just I'm just briefly gonna go into Descartes.io. So Descartes, as you probably already know, most of you, is sort of the commercial entity driving forward the Tagion network here in the beginning, and also teaming up with different partners and communities to get projects on board on the Tagion network. So we just updated this. And as we scroll down here, you see currently there is 3 verticals. We have currency design, asset tokenization and trading, and bespoke governance. And there actually also will be a 4th one, which is supply chain. But these are the 4 verticals where we believe DLT can help the most. So these are the ones that we'll be focusing on. So we'll help companies, communities, anything like that, create currencies, alternative currencies, tokenizing assets, trading assets, and also just creating bespoke governance rules or governance setups. So that could be, let's say, if you have some kind of voting process, just it could be like conventional democracy. You could actually run it on here, but of course it could also just be for communities, companies, anything like that. And then for supply chains, also where you could sort of bring the whole supply chain on chain for transparency. So yeah, we have updated the websites to capture this, and I hope that to some extent helps explain what kind of applications we expect to see on here. But maybe Thijs, you can dive a bit more into it on the supply chain side.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you. I would love to. And I'll just try to share my screen. If I can share this. Yeah, I think I shared my screen right. I'll just show a picture, actually.
You're showing the Discord screen.
And you're not seeing a PDF, right?
No.
No.
Okay, I'll just try again. One more time. Press it one more time. Go live. See what happens. Okay, what are you seeing now?
You see a PDF.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So what Jonas just said, we are trying to implement applications on the system in different kind of avenues, and we're actually concretely working with 2 supply chain cases right now. And so what does it mean we have a federated system? What does it mean it has trust? And also it has authenticity, basically, and validity, the data. And if we start with the, you could say, the trust thing first and the federated system, then we have something called the mainnet up here, where you can spin up a federated system from, basically. So you basically get the trust from the mainnet down to a federated system. You could utilize the consensus from the mainnets. And that makes sure the rules which you set for your subsystem down here, for example, a supply chain system, cannot be tampered with. So everybody needs to comply with the rules down here and also with the data rules. So nobody can tamper with data or the rules in the system. So we get an independent trust layer. If we look at it from a data point of view, then the system down here, it's basically a distributed database which you can trust. It has all data records in the system. It can also be transactions, like have an owner and also a signature. And that points up to, it can at least point up to a name record, doesn't need to, and it can indirectly point up to, as you can see those dotted lines here, it means you can cryptographically verify who owns and who signed this document, indirectly at least. And that means you can basically prove who owns the data, but also who signed the data. So that's one thing. And then you have a timestamp and a fingerprint of the data. And a fingerprint is like a hash of the data, meaning it takes all the data you have in this record, and then it basically makes a unique fingerprint of the data. If you just change one dot in the data, you get a new fingerprint. So that's a way to ensure the integrity of the data. So that's the integrity, and then you have a timestamp like of the data. And by this, you're getting validity of data and also authenticity of data at the data level. But in order to actually, from a legal point of view, if you would like to know who actually signed a data record or owns data record at a certain point in time or did a transaction, you would like to have the authenticity more from a global notary point of view. And that's where we have something called a name record system in Tagion, where you can have a name record, which is basically has a public identifier. And this public identifier is basically just a record, but it public identifies you or a company for that matter, where you can also get an external company or whatever to validate that record. So that means you get some kind of proof that this is actually the real company or the real person owning this record here. So when this record up here signs something or owns data, we can actually prove at that point in time that it was actually the real person behind. So it goes in both directions. So we also get legal, you could say, validity and authenticity. And that's extremely important in a world which is global, and also where you would like to both ensure authenticity and validity, so you have legal, you could say, validity of your documents and transactions. And this can also be regarded as a global public notary system. So instead of having many trustees and notary systems locally, or a lot of subsystems which you need to trust or signing systems, now we actually have a sort of a global system which everybody can trust. And this is very useful if you want to combat like all kind of risks and fraud, basically, especially within counterfeiting, theft, basically, ensuring authenticity of documents. Nobody is tampering with the documents, and who actually owns which one is the correct document, and there is not a copy. There's many use cases for this, and there's counterfeiting and basically selling of stolen goods in the world is $1 trillion industry. It's extremely huge, and we are now working with companies that works to ensure, for example, commodities in this area, who are basically two companies. We're working with two cases right now who try to ensure physical goods, and we are then going to help ensure, you could say, the virtual, the document layer, so to speak, the data proof of the system. So that's two concrete use cases which you can utilize the system for, and I will actually stop sharing. Which we are currently working on, and I don't know if it makes any sense, or just.
Yeah, so maybe to summarize, so it would be attractive for companies to use our system in supply chains to create transparency, accountability, automate a lot of the processes in supply chain. That's essentially what you're saying, right? Boiled down.
Yeah, exactly. Because to get that independent global trust and you could say name record system, which give them this ability to authenticate and the documents and signatures, ownerships, and then we have the integrity and validity of the documents itself, the data, which give this, makes it more or less. You can say it ensures what I'm just saying, authenticity, validity, and trust in the document, so to speak, and the data, which is what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe also, could you also touch upon what sets Tagion apart from some of the competing DLTs out there?
Yeah, maybe I'll just actually share again now, see if this goes better. Now it's gone. It's funny. Okay.
So just why does it make sense for let's say a company that has some supply chain issues to actually go with us instead of someone else?
Yeah. So let me give one. So besides from the business points, I don't think so. Those features I just told you about. Like this system is designed from the data records and up with integrity. Sorry, I get other calls coming in. Did I lose you now?
No.
Okay, I'm just having others running through. Okay, so this system has been designed basically bottom up from the binary level, where the standard data format is like what we call Hyper. That's the document format, basically at the lowest level in the system. And at that level in the system, you have this ownership and integrity of the data. And this is extremely important. So we have it at the lowest level. And this also means we have a very efficient data formats. I don't know. I think Carsten told me like it's 29 more. It's 29 times more efficient to serialize or deserialize Hyper than JSON, and it also the size of the data packet itself is way less as well than, for example, JSON. So we also created a system that is very scalable and extremely efficient, because we have physical limitations in resources like computing power and also in bandwidth. So we actually get a system that works in a distributed manner. We also have a distributed database and so forth going upwards. But you can say, so what sets us aside? It is you get that ownership, authenticity, validity, and at the same time you get a very efficient system, which basically can scale. And I guess that's the big point, right? Because if you're working within supply chain, transaction, whatever you're working with, banking, all these cases require like a hefty scale, a lot of transactions, basically a lot of data, and that's why the system has been designed bottom up in order to accommodate this. So we are simply saying like we are having a system that has another architecture and how it works. You can actually also delete data again if your governance allows it. So you don't run around having too much, you could say, old or irrelevant data in your database, in your system, which costs as well resources. So we have a very efficient system that can scale, and at the same time it has this security built in from the data record level. That's like, I guess, what sets us very much apart from everybody else. Yeah. I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And I guess also just to elaborate on that, I think that some of the problems that other systems have, such as Ethereum, that they have problems in terms of scalability, where you see that it costs at least at times a fortune to actually transact on the network, and to sort of overcome these problems, there's been created a lot of so-called layer twos, which are in essence just separate networks using Ethereum as the underlying security layer. But I guess that's where Tagion is much more. We have from the beginning sort of built the layer twos into the ecosystem or the network itself through these federated subsystems. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the idea. And also so we don't get conflicts, because a lot of those layer twos, they're basically, of course, it brings up many problems. You basically get back to where you started, right? So then you need to trust some of those nodes then operating, because they're not directly linked to the main net, and that basically just brings a lot of security issues, right? So I hope our system will basically, it's a federated system where you can utilize the trust. Yeah.
Okay, that's very good. And I see Leander is back, hopefully. So yeah, maybe we should try to get him
talking a bit about it, right? Like while Leander's getting online, it's like I know energy and resource consumption, and also how well we utilize resources. If we're just looking apart from CO2, but just the energy footprint having now in the, you could say in the IT industry, like from all the server centers, basically. I read the other day, like now all the server farms in the world are utilizing twice as much energy as the whole shipping industry itself, and as much energy as the whole logistics sector, the basically land logistics sector, like all the trucks and everything. It is extreme, and it just continue to utilize more and more energy. So it is not sustainable, basically, and because we don't have an endless amount of energy, at least not yet, and it actually costs money. The price is going up in energy. If nobody, I think somebody noticed this as well on their home bills. And then we also have the problem with resources, like buying microchips, having enough power, basically having enough bandwidth. It all costs a lot of money and a lot of resources to produce those stuff. So that's why we are probably going to see also in the IT industry, you need to start to be a lot more efficient in what you do. At least I hope so, because it actually costs a lot of money. You cannot just throw a lot of shit on top of each other and expect it to work well. And yeah, you actually need to build it so it's efficient as well. I think maybe the IT industry is becoming a bit more mature in this area.
But that's also then what you're saying is that one thing is efficiency and scalability. Another appeal of using the Tagion network is essentially footprint. And for a lot of companies, especially ones wanting to be green, which most companies do, it does make a lot of sense to actually use Tagion compared to a lot of the other competing systems, because it is relatively more energy consuming.
No, but also like from a resource point of view, I don't know if anybody of you trying to host servers on Amazon or or just in a hosting center, I don't know, somewhere on Asia or whatever, on Hetzner, it is actually pretty expensive. So when you want to do operations, you also want to do it efficiently. Basically, it has a big cost, and it's not for free anymore. So it never been, but it's like, I guess the more stuff we put out there in operations, the more we realize we need to do it very efficiently. And so it also has a huge cost to the companies, basically.
Yeah. So
one competitive advantage for our system is costs go down, and we can help then also reduce risk by increasing validity, authenticity, of course, of the data.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And that's due to, I guess, I don't know if Leander can talk now. Carsten is here. He is like
I don't think he can.
No, Carsten is a hardware guy, right? So he insists is building everything from 0 and 1s from the scratch, because he thinks this is the only way you can do stuff. But this is actually beautiful because then you do it in the most efficient manner instead of just taking existing frameworks or data formats or whatever, which are not as efficient as they should be. It's of course a lot of work, but this is actually why it has become so efficient.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Okay,
Leander.
he's not able to join. He says, but I think also just to wrap this part up, and move on to, because we also briefly want to give you an update on the roadmap. So I think if there's anything that has not sufficiently adequately been answered, write it in the chat or in the general channel, and we'll make sure to answer it in there or take it up on next town hall. But yeah, I think just to let's move on. And just before handing it over to you, Carsten, I just briefly want to mention that some of the things have been postponed on the roadmap side, and that simply is due to the fact that we have been really busy with partners and potential clients, speaking to many different ones. So we sort of had to prioritize that right now, which has been reflected in the updated roadmap, just to give you a heads up. But yeah, maybe Carsten, you could give us a quick update.
Yeah, just see if I can share how do you actually share stuff in the screen. So I just share my screen, then it's easier, right? So yeah, okay. So because we have of course, I don't know if you have seen this. We already have this page here where we have all the documentation, which is we are updating continuously. But what we have also done is we have also made a simple example. So and this is we are adding more and more examples here. Now it's so here, if you want to build something on top of Tagion, then this one is actually an example of how to use Tagion as a library. So there's right now there's only 2 examples how to make Hyphon. So this one is a simple example how to make this data format what we have. For instance, here I just make a simple data format. You have a string and some counter and some other number and so on. So here's actually just how to make this if you want to work with it. And then there's some examples on how you can read it from a file and so on. And then we have another example is how to use the database, which is called Dart, not to confuse it with the language Dart. So this is our database, and here you can see how you can actually create a database, open it, and read. Here we actually add. Here we actually add those 3 archives to the database, and then you read it and so on. So and it's relatively easy. You should be able to just download the Git. So you if you are you just get this Git repository, and then you say make run, and then it actually runs the 2 programs. So it creates the 2 programs we have for now. So you can execute the program here or the Hyphon program. And of course, we will add more and more examples. This is just to get started, and when we are moving on, we will add more examples on that. So yeah, so that actually it, I think.
Very nice. All right, I think I'll also just
Yes, just remember to stop sharing, please.
Yeah, I want to share
maybe
my
we
screen.
should try to this, Carsten, why we are doing this. It's not because it's actually because we have one of our long-term partners, Ian. They invest quite a lot in building on top of us, right? And they are in close contact with us, and they are actually they are actually using the system, and they want to use it even more. And that's also why you have built those examples and documentation and everything, so they can utilize it, right? So there is actually a use case in the other end for this.
Yeah, it's always easier to because it's always easier to interact with the system if you have some examples. It's the best documentation you have. So examples by examples is much easier than just reading documentation. Documentation should be support for the examples, right? If you want to dig down. Yeah.
And if I may, what Max demoed early on with the SDK, that ties nicely to here. Max also mentioned it, but it is absolutely very possible to take the SDK that has been created and port that to other languages. And that's exactly what the Aeon guys are going to look into doing, so they can even use this as well. And then, of course, we're helping, we're assisting, and we'll provide more examples as we go along. And we are open sourcing all of it, at least the things we're doing. It's community projects.
Yeah, just to mention, actually, it's also two different things. What Max is doing is from outside in, so it's from the application side. If you want to access to the network, it's what Max showed. But if you want to work, make tools for the core system, then it's what I just showed. So it's two different planes, you can say, you can work on.
Yeah. Maybe actually while we're at it, and I don't think this has been addressed, Snyhold is asking, are there other systems made in JSON? Who others are using Hyphen?
I don't think there's anybody else using Hyphen because it's our own invention. The reason why we made it is that Hyphen stands for hash invariant binary object notation. And it's because when you have a distributed system, you want to update the data locally. But everything has a hash integrity. So this is if we go into a technical thing, the database is a big Merkle tree. So we have a Merkle root, which is called the bullseye, and that's how the whole system is working. Everything when you update a record, it's hash invariant. So it doesn't matter where you do it. If you update the record in two different places where you put in the same data, it's always the same binary object, and this means that the cryptographical hash is the same. This also means that if I create the same data and sign it, you can actually verify it without sending the data, and there's a lot of advantages. And we also have our HyperPC, which is a Hyphen remote procedure call, which is also built on top of this. This is actually the same, but here we can actually sign the remote procedure call. This means we don't use logins or anything. We just send information, and then it's digital signature. So you don't need a login if you have permission, because if I send a message to you, you know that it's already credential open. So if I know that's you, so you can verify credential on that way. So that's why it's built like this.
Okay, thank you, Carsten. I think we will. I'll just quickly share my screen and then give you a brief update on the governance process. And also, while doing it, answer one of the questions, which it's been quite hectic with all the technical problems we have tonight. But yeah, answering the last question in regards to community growth. So here's a updated roadmap for Q4. We did mention last time that we more or less had the Tagion manifesto ready. That's still the case. We just need to finalize or settle on the substance of it. After all, it's quite an important document because it's going to guide much of the ensuing what comes after in terms as for the network. So yeah, but I think we can expect it to see it within a week or two. Then for the Tagion Open Notebook on Governance, the TONG, we have been working quite a lot on that. We want to bring it online, which we are currently working on. So yeah, within maybe 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, I expect it to be online, and that in due course will materialize into a governance working paper, which is sort of all the condensed or distilled what's it called, like all the good theory that has been suggested, proposed in the tongue. It will be distilled into the governance working paper. And then finally, we want to create this community event before the Christmas holidays, where we are gonna discuss a lot of these the governance processes. But yeah, so some of the things, or all of the things you see right here, they have been slightly postponed, which has been mentioned is simply due to the fact that we have been busy working with external entities. Also, in regards to all of this, we want to, and we would love to engage you, the community, to participate in the governance discussions, help us refine, revise the ideas, so we get the ideal governance structure for the network. After all, it is a decentralized network, and it should function as a decentralized network. And that, of course, is not only one entity, like, for example, the card as it is right now. It is going to include a lot of different entities, and also you, all you are here today. So we would love for you to get engaged. And yeah, also for building the community, yeah, we'd love to engage you more, but we would also like to see if we can involve external parties. So I know some of us have a rather extensive network when it comes to both money and governance. So in due course, I think the plan is to get them onboarded here in Discord to start having some quite fruitful discussions, hopefully. So that's the plan, and also to have really competent people in here discussing these things. So yeah, after all, that's what we're looking for in the end. But of course, we welcome everyone to chime in. You're all invited. Yeah, exactly. So that's sort of the plans for growing the community. It's going to be more concrete in due course. So I think within the next couple of months, we're actually going to make a concrete plan for how to get more people onboarded into the community. Yeah. All right. but I think that's it. Are there any questions related to all of the different things we have discussed tonight? No, but no. But yeah, you can always, as always, ask questions in the general chat. And also, if you have any questions for us to address and answer for the next town hall session, which, by the way, is on Tuesday, the 26th of November, you should feel more than welcome to post it in the general chat, and we'll make sure to address them. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you all for joining us. It was good to have you here. And sorry about all the technical issues. But that's what it is. It's tech. Yeah, the plan is with Tagion to build some tech that doesn't crashes. So yeah, that's it. Good to have you all here, guys, and have a good night.
See you. Thank you.
Thank you.